ETN or a mid 2023 first? Somebody's on mute.
Scott's on mute, or he just can't pull the trigger on it. He doesn't want to answer.
No, this is actually a tough one for me because I think the process says you're getting no leverage on just trading ETN for a mid first. But man, we were just talking. He's probably like a top 5 dynasty running back at this point. I'm not sure what that means or what the value is, but the right roster construction, I could justify giving up a 106 or later for ETN and just kind of riding him being the one I build around the rest of the season.
What are you going, Shane?
I'm going to say, yeah, I'll hold on to ETN only because it feels like I'm chasing my tail, trading for a 23 first when, you know what, I'm probably going to end up picking with that, a running back. Eventually, I guess I have to stop and just go, all right, I'm just going to see if this one can have 2 knees that make it through the season and just pray.
Just root for the knees.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Travis Etienne or AJ Brown?
I'll take Brown.
Yeah, that's pretty even. I could see a world where I'll take Travis Etienne, but it's not this one, so I'll take AJ Brown.
I put that up there for you, Shane. I was gonna say T Higgins, but that would be T Higgins pretty easy.
Yeah. This one I would think about. You know what I mean? Again, based on roster construction, if I'm like, all right, well, I'm kind of deep at wide receiver, and Etienne will be my anchor running back until he explodes. All right, let's do it.
So apparently you like T Higgins over AJ Brown.
I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
you don't. You don't, Scott?
Honestly, I think if you have to rank the receivers from 1 to 10, you probably put AJ Brown at 3 or 4. I mean, I guess it comes down to you're buying the best offense in the league. You're buying an efficient quarterback. I did the efficiency episode on Destination Dynasty the other day. Jalen Hurts is in the top 6. Like we hear this narrative that he's not as good of a quarterback as some of these other guys. So I think they're in the same tier, but I think if you're going to accept one for Higgins, I think Brown is where you would go before Higgins even, or in the same tier. So I was just surprised to see Shane was a little more on the fence with him versus Higgins.
Maybe that's my natural Philadelphia. Like don't want to. I'm scared of my Philadelphia bias, so I'm just I'm pulling the trigger and letting AJ Brown go. Maybe.
There, we'll cover you up while you think about that. If you joined on the replay, what we're doing a debrief on week 7, looking ahead to week 8. If you want to bail because you don't like the Phillies or Shane or whatever, bail to our channel. We got a bunch of good stuff up there. Take a peek. I guarantee you'll like us. Okay. I don't know if I should guarantee they'll like us. I mean, we're not that awesome.
As long as it's not TikTok, I think we're fine.
So, guys, let's talk about holy TikTok trolls, Batman. Let's talk about Travis Etienne. Go ahead, Scott.
No, I mean the trade. You kind of got my ideas flowing right when you mentioned the trade for a mid first, because overnight we lost Brees, he lost James Robinson. If that just doesn't reflect how quickly the running back landscape changes week to week, and the crazy thing is, I've heard a lot of people talking about, well, Dynasty is becoming way too reactionary. But really, is that inappropriate at the running back position? Like I ask Shane this all the time. Shane, we don't like running backs. Everyone knows that. But the running backs we have on our roster, it's like every week that you get another good game out of a guy like Josh Jacobs or Austin Eckler, you're kind of sitting there going like, man, when is the floor going to fall out from under me?
Right.
And that's kind of becoming the running back landscape, to where if you can get a game like you got from ETN on Sunday and then get a couple more of those, you're almost like you're having your cake and eating it too, if you can then cash out high because the other running back on his team gets traded and now his value's doubled overnight. So it kind of just feels like you just ride the waves when they're going and you have the points in your lineup, you take it. But then if you can capture a couple of those and then trade them away for double what they were worth before they had this run of games, you almost have to embrace that window. And that window doesn't exist on guys like Josh Jacobs. Go try to trade him right now. People will be like, no, man, I'm too much risk. So it's almost like they hit a point where they're worth more to either start buying or just ride out. So I think if you have one of these guys that's in their second year, former first round pick, had very high dynasty value before he broke his foot last year, you now have this like premium sell window on ETN where it's like, damn, someone's really going to give me a mid first and another running back to get him. You go from I'm glad I had him and I'm hoping he produces to he's an automatic sell overnight. And that's not just him. That's just like really any running back that's in this like prime first, second, even third year window where you can cash out high. You just do it because it's so volatile.
So would you go Travis Etienne would you go Travis Etienne or Miles Sanders and a 24 first?
Package done.
Yeah, you're getting Miles Sanders is a top 12 running back right now. I mean, and that's all. I mean, I hate being that now. I feel like
Philly
I'm
bias, huh?
Well, no, but he is. I mean, look, I was completely out on Miles Sanders. You know that. And the only reason I have Miles Sanders on my roster is because no one would offer me more than a third. Like, quite frankly, like I try to get seconds off people and they'd be like, no. I'm like, all right, well, then he's stuck on my roster and here's hoping. Even now, I can't trade him for a second, which is pretty funny. I mean, I want anyway now, so screw you guys. But yeah, I forget what the original point was. Yeah, I'll take Miles Sanders in the pick. Definitely. That was the point. And look, the pick, what I keep saying, and I keep mentioning this on some of our roster reviews, is I can take that pick and then reinvest it in my roster right now. Or I can hold on to it. You know what I mean? I can reinvest into it in this year and go for it. Or I can hold on to it, see what happens. I was just looking up some Travis Etienne trades from the summer. So if anyone's concerned that they won't be able to buy in on Breece Hall, it's a wide range, but there's definitely, he was gettable. I'll say that. Like there's a bunch of trades where like Michael Carter and a 2023 third, Michael Gallup and a 2022 second. And then there's other ones where he was completely like valued, I guess, a little higher than that. But you definitely, and I know Breece Hall smashed more than Travis Etienne, so maybe there's that. But I think you'll be able to buy back in on Breece Hall if you really, really want to.
Are you going Etienne or Ken Walker?
Ken Walker. No, Travis Etienne.
I think they're basically in the same tier. If you had to rank your running backs, you'd probably put them like really close to back to back. But I think the principle on both is the same thing, right? Like they're one of the few running backs. If you have right now, leading up to week 8, there is a list that I can count on less than one hand of guys you can go and seek out that pivot trade that you just asked. If you're trying to make that pivot trade with any older running back, not named McCaffrey or Barkley, you get laughed at. And then it's really like Etienne, Jonathan Taylor, Ken Walker. That's it. There's no other one where somebody's going to go, man, I'm willing to give up a future first and a running back that I know is locked into my lineup just for a running back that I hope continues to produce a little better than Miles Sanders, you know? So it's like when I ask you to go the other way on a trade like you asked, I feel queasy making that type of deal. You'll never catch me going, hey, let me add a first to a startable running back with probably how I've constructed my teams to go buy a better running back. Just feels like you're taking all the risk and you lose those investment opportunities like Shane talked about. So I think this is a very interesting time, and I do want to explore on future shows what I think is going to be the impact, because we talked about this on the Breece Hall video, but I think this is going to start becoming more common. Like we get a lot of questions and it's like everyone in my league overvalues running backs. It's like, fine, that's low hanging fruit in these roster reviews when they ask us, hey, everyone in my league overvalues Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara and Joe Mixon. Shane and I are just like, dude, go trade them all.
Yeah.
But what if 10 people in your league all undervalue running backs and you happen to have the team that has 3 of them? Then what? When does process overtake? And see, but that's the thing is Shane goes, well, then just get all the running backs and just beat them to death with them.
Yeah.
But that's going against the process. So there's going to become a breaking point where you go, damn, everyone's fading running backs. Do I buy back in? Do I buy back in and gamble that maybe I get a season worth of production of what Josh Jacobs is doing now? And wow, he's worth 2 seconds. So yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how everyone reacts to this Breece injury. If you can take him, you can take any running back. You know, nobody's untouchable if you can knock him out for the season.
Yep. All right. So we got some subscriber inbox trades here. Let's help these guys out real quick. Let's make some accepts or some rejects. Sean, inbox trade, 12-team Superflex, start 10. Give Brees a mid to early 23 first and Mac Jones. Get Kyler and Dameon Pierce.
Smash it.
Yes, sir.
You would have almost done this prior to the injury. With the injury, I don't understand what the get side is doing here.
Well, they're getting you don't understand what the get side.
I don't understand why the team
Kyler owner is
giving up the get side is now motivated to buy Mac Jones and an injured Brees Hall and trade away Dameon Pierce, who I would take over Brees Hall, and then you're adding
devil's advocate
Kyler to the deal.
Yeah, Satan's advocate here. They're thinking Mac and a first equals Kyler. It doesn't. And they're thinking Brees, even returning next year, is going to be a much better long-term plan than Dameon Pierce, which I can see. Like, honestly, again, if I'm not contending and someone offered me Brees for my Dameon Pierce because they're contending, I'd do that. But this specific trade, I'm not a fan of it.
Yep. So get you some Kyler and Dameon Pierce. Steven, thank you very much for the super chat, man. 10-team, start 10, 2 QB, half PPR, rebuild. Not a big fan of these players, but hard to pass. Give Javonte, get DJ Moore, Dobbins, and a choice of Judy or Mooney.
I definitely take Judy over Mooney.
Me too.
But, I mean, yeah, I think I just take the 3 players. I have more flexibility with the 3 players. You're trading a guy that there are very few people in your league are probably even interested much in Javonte. So, yeah, give me the 3 and just pray you can flip Dobbins if he gets back on the field, and maybe Judy or DJ Moore work out for you next year. But yeah, I'd take the 3.
Right,
I see why he goes, yuck. I don't really like what I'm getting.
But yeah, exactly. But he says he's in a rebuild. So like you said, get those extra pieces.
Yeah, I'm gonna just hold. Honestly, I'll just hold for Javonte and see if his value can replicate anything that it used to be, because Dobbins and Judy, Mooney, like bleh. And DJ Moore, the only reason he's not bleh is because I've loved him coming out of college. If his name was like Frank Johnson, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, this dude is a jag, but it's DJ Moore, and I can't get past that. I think I'll hold Javonte here just to see.
Yep. Well, your call there. Your call there, Steven. Again, if his name were Frank, what was it? Johnson, you said?
Frank Johnson. Frank Johnson. Great player.
Joseph, thank you for the super chat here. Moved ETN a late 23 second and a late 23 third. Received AJ Brown and Devin Singletary. I have his early 23 first. I'm 6-1.
You're mean.
Yeah, you probably took more points off his team.
Yep.
Than you gave him, and you're probably helping the own first that you already have, and you're 6-1, so you're probably not like relying on ETN. So yeah, this is one of the trades where you're like, okay, it's a pretty even deal, but then you look a little further, and if that pick ends up being, like the 102, and you also traded him the landmine that is a running back, then yeah, great trade.
Did I say AJ beat AJ Brown earlier? Yeah, it's AJ Brown over ETN. I don't know what the hell I was thinking if it wasn't.
I know,
AJ
man.
Brown.
It's funny you said Higgins and then you hesitated on Brown.
Well, now I'm looking at it in black and white. You know what I mean? You know how like word problems, like people telling you something, but then you see it. They're like, no, dude, there's a ghost in this house. You're like, all right, whatever. And then you see something and you're like, oh,
and then you see a ghost. You're like, holy shit, there is a ghost in this house.
This house is haunted. So yeah, you know what? Give me AJB and Singletary, and I'm going to revise my earlier statement. We'll take AJB over ETN.
Yeah, good trade there. All right, let's knock out a couple more inbox trades here. 8 teams, start 8, and thank you again for that super chat. 8 teams, start 8, PPR, 1 QB. Give Zeke, Juju, and a 25 third. Get ETN.
And it's an 8-team start 8. So first of all, give me the best player. I don't even really just give me the best player, but come on. I mean,
ETN.
how great do you feel
ETN.
about starting ETN or Juju and Zeke in a start 8?
Start
Like
8.
immediately that team goes, damn it, those guys probably belong on my bench.
Yes, take it.
Don't be fooled by Zeke having like 1.5 good games. That dude is still washed as laundry. That's what you wash, laundry.
I guess it is. Jeffrey Jacobs inbox trade. 12-team Superflex PPR 1.5 tight end premium start 10. Give a very late 23 first. Get Mike Evans. I do need wide receiver help. 0 depth.
Nah, man, you shop that first around. You can get a better wide receiver than that. You get a younger wide receiver for that you're not just burning a first round pick on a guy that's going to give you a year and a half or maybe a half a season.
And even if you have to add something else on your end, try to get a piece that you want more, with some more insulation. What do you think, Scott? Same thing?
Yeah,
No?
I don't like it. That's one of those deals where if you told me I went down the line and 21 other receivers were rejected for my first, then fine. But I'm guessing this was like, I don't want to say hated, but just, yeah, too much. I don't want to get this is not how I want to spend my first.
Yeah, even then it's just like, I'm just going to put this first in my pocket till you sons of bitches come to your senses, and I'll talk to you, closer to the trade deadline. Please don't have trade deadlines.
Or let me just say this: wait out these teams. I mean, think about how it feels, and obviously we play in a lot of leagues, so we can kind of feel where it feels like to be on all spots of dynasty rosters. But how does the team with Mike Evans feel if he's not competing, and he knows every single week he's sitting on a player that is just going down in value? Like, don't cave to people like that. I mean, literally go and set your lineup. And if it's like, unless you're just down multiple starters and you have to win, why are you rushing to trade for a receiver like Mike Evans in week 8? When if you just wait out 2 more weeks and that team is now 2-7, how do you know they don't lower the price? Like, if you're a buyer, unless you have a trade deadline, and that's a whole different conversation. If your trade deadline is like week 10, then okay, I get it. But if it's later in the year, like, wait out these sellers. The leverage this summer, or the leverage this season, is going to be on the buying side. The teams with the picks, the teams with the young assets, and then the teams that are willing to move those are the ones that have all the leverage. Don't let these teams going, I'm selling my team. Great. Sell your team. Sell all your old players. My experience is there's 2 or 3 teams in the league max that are buying. Everyone else is trying to tank for picks, or they're trying to kind of contend, but they want to save their picks and they won't move them because, well, my team could go to shit the next month and then I want to have my first. So don't cave if you're a buyer. Wait them out. They'll sell cheaper.
Yep.
Jason, thank you very much for the super chat, man. Very generous. Appreciate you. Pity me, Marquise, DK, Brees Hall, and Joku after a year rebuild. Love the show, but your aversion to 2 top RBs means never winning in single QB start 8. Waddle, AJ, DK, Kyler, Pitts, etc. Not enough, even when healthy.
Yeah, so I'll say, like, most of our aversion comes from we're not generally in single quarterback start 8 leagues, right? But even on our roster reviews, we do touch on that it is a different format, and we do talk about, like, it's okay to unfortunately suck it in and then live through the pain of starting running backs every week. The good thing, though, for you, Jason, is that none of those injuries should be career ending, right? So you'll get all those guys back next year. It's just this year is going to be a little bit of a siesta for you.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. He's got a team that's either underperformed with a couple guys, and then he's had these injuries. So I get it. I do think Shane has a point. We just did a roster review earlier today where we did a shallow league, and we talked about that, where, it's another one where the person that submitted it said running backs are overvalued. A lot of shallow leagues, a lot of leagues that are not, some of the leagues that we're playing in that are, 12 teams, start 13, stuff like that. Running backs are overvalued. And I think a lot of it is just hindsight bias, where they look backwards and they go, wow, the team that had that 26 point per game running back, he won the league. Well, of course they did. We acknowledge that when you hit on one of those elite running backs, it is a big difference. In fact, today's landscape, if you hit on, like, if Austin Eckler continues what he's continuing right now, he's going to be one of those running backs. He's going to be close to 25 points per game. The idea is, though, you're betting that that's a very, very narrow range of outcomes for that to happen, and you don't want to chase it. You don't want to go, oh, he did it last year, he's going to do it again. Or I'm going to be able to pick out of a group, this is the one that's going to do that. So it's really looking at that where the flat ranges are at running backs and betting against that. If you find a year where you have 2 stud running backs and you want to ride them out in a shallow league, then do it. But just don't sit there and go, just because I have Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry, that doesn't mean you're going to win your league. In fact, that could go very wrong in the team that's replacing those guys and getting firsts on top of it, and they're starting Ramondre Stevenson and Josh Jacobs are beating you. So I think just acknowledging how volatile the position is. It doesn't mean you don't chase the elite running backs. You just don't want to. What you don't want to do is go, hey, give me all of them, and I'm going to try to dominate by having 5 or 6 of these elite running backs. You're leaving value on the table because a couple of them are going to just naturally erode or not perform. So I get what he's talking about. Like, I do think in a shallow league, you're going to chase the elite running backs a little bit more than probably the leagues we play in.
Yep. Thank you again for that super chat. Matt has one for us too, real quick. Lots of eyeballs. He says, smash that like for Shane's coffee. We have 250 people in here. Thank you so much for joining tonight. This is awesome. We always enjoy it. We have a lot of fun on these live streams. And yeah, Shane, Matt just bought you a cup of coffee.
All right, I'm gonna go to Dunkin' Donuts now.
And he has a cool appy. Look at that. It's like Matt backwards. Team Matt backwards. You notice that?
Yeah,
it is nice.
Yeah, did you get a fresh avatar, Shane? We were talking about that last. No, you didn't get a, what is it, glamour shots, right?
Yeah.
That's what it used to be.
Right.
Inbox trade, play 8, start 8, 1 QB PPR. Gave Mike Williams, Christian Kirk, Brian Robinson, get 2023 101 and Rondale Moore.
I don't know. Wow.
I'll take the Bijan Rondale side.
Yeah, I don't. Jesus, Mike Williams. Yeah, I don't. This isn't. Yeah, dude, this is Bijan. I don't understand. And you got Rondale Moore thrown in for fun. Sure, why not?
I mean, it's an 8-team start 8, so like you're literally chasing the best asset to the extreme, and someone just gave you maybe the best asset in 1 QB leagues.
Yep.
The guys that you probably aren't even starting.
Yeah, so Jack, definitely just hit that old accept button there. Okay, let's I'm gonna pull up one of the questions that we received in the community posts. If you don't see those, go into the community tab. We like to post stuff in there and ask for video ideas and whatnot. Here was one. How do you know when it's time to exit the rebuild phase and try to contend? I know it's broad, but let's just talk about that. Like I've got a team, for example. It's on paper, you're like, oh, this has no depth. It's kind of trashy, but I've got 623 first, and I've got Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jamar Chase, and whatever. My QBs are holding me up in a super flex. You know, that shows the value of elite QBs. But when is it time to exit the rebuild and try to contend? Like, should I be buying players with these first?
Do you have 2 elite quarterbacks? Do you have 2, if not 2 elite ones, 1 elite one, and another top 12 quarterback, and a plethora of draft picks, and an anchor wide receiver, and an anchor running back, decent tight end? Then it's probably time to get the hell out of that rebuild. We've seen, again, I'm not touting it, but the roster reviews is what we do all day, so that's all I can relate to anymore. But we've seen roster reviews where people are like, "Oh, I'm rebuilding. Here's my roster," and the team will be pretty much 3 players away from being just an absolute jackhammer, and they have like 7 first. I'm like, yeah, dude, you just compete now. Like, just trade those picks, attach them to players, and get better players. Like, it's time. It's one of those things like you just kind of know, I think, right? You look at your roster and you go, I'm getting 105 points from 4 players. You know what? I think it's time to fill out the rest of this roster.
Yeah, kind of the answer is when your roster construction is where you want it to be based on that format.
Mm-hmm.
And you really can just look at your team and say, okay, I don't have enough of these threshold receivers, and or I don't have enough running backs to probably get me through, or I don't have that anchor running back that I'm chasing, but I got a bunch of picks. That's kind of where the roster sounds like you're mentioning, Clay, is like you have everything in place and you have picks instead of players. and if you have picks there, you're able to probably go buy players. It just depends on the market that you're in, and can you get, like, when you're in that spot, and let's say you're 3-4 on the season, right? But you're carrying like 6 firsts, and you're like, well, I'll just wait to contend next year. It kind of feels like you don't want to waste a great Jamar Chase season or a great Patrick Mahomes season and let it go by another year and then go, well, they'll just do it next year. I mean, not next year's not guaranteed, So when you're sitting there and you're like, well, this team wasn't ready to compete, but you're 500 and you have all these firsts, you kind of do you dip in a little bit, but you don't go all the way in. You maybe trade a couple of those picks. You test the market. What deals can you get that are 1-for-1s? What you don't want to do is go chase one player and start giving up multiple firsts for one player. Buy 2 equitable assets that are going to score points. If it doesn't work out, you don't make it, big deal. You still got 4 firsts to play with. You still are heading in the right direction, but you're not disrupting your roster construction. Right. You have your QBs, you have your tight end. All you really need to do is add some extra receivers and some running backs. So it's when you're not in roster construction and maybe you don't have a second quarterback, that's when you're like, all right, I'm just not ready. And I'll give it some more time until the market resets. So I think it's when you have the team build that you want, kind of just lean into it and see if you can win.
I like it. Okay, let's keep going here. Caleb, thank you for the super chat, man. 12-team Superflex start 10. Get Olave and Jameson Williams and a 24 first. Give Jamar Chase.
I wouldn't hate it if you took it if you were in that exact same scenario that I just mentioned, right? Like if it was a team where you're kind of in the middle and you're trying to accrue like Clay's assets. You want to get to that like extra first. You want to have a couple extra receivers. I'm okay. This is basically 3 firsts for Chase. Maybe a little bit more depending on how you value JMO. So that's pretty good for a receiver, even if it's Jefferson or Chase.
It is, but no. Now, if it was Olave and just a second, like slightly stronger piece, like you combined whatever mash Jameson Williams and a 24 first in together, and they're like, this turns into form of
Jalen Waddle,
AJ Brown, then maybe. I hate tearing down specific, like just top 2 positionals, like Chase, Jefferson. Like I only want to do it in very, very select situations, and generally it's only if I'm getting like a quarterback for them. So I don't hate it because trust me, I've got leagues where I go, oh, well, I've got 2 good players and Chase is one of them. So he's gone. So in that situation, yeah, I would do it. So I guess we need a little more context to this. Can he
flip Jameson in the first though and go get one of the guys you're talking about? Like, isn't the value here too much? Yeah. Assuming he's in a league, he can make another trade. If I put T Higgins instead of the Jameson Williams in the 24th first, are you taking it, Shane?
I don't know. Probably. Pretty good chance.
Can he go get one of those guys for that, the Jameson and the 24 first? I think it's possible.
Definitely gives them more assets to work with. So that's, I guess, So you know what? I hate being this, but if I'm in a situation where I need to fill my roster and not just with like dudes, like with actual good players, I'd be okay with this.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing as you did, Scott. Like, what's the league makeup? Is it an active league? Is there a market for JMO? 24 first. Do people like those? That would help. But good.
Like our listener leagues, like our listener league, you'd be able to get a tier up receiver if you were willing to trade a first and Jameson Williams. There'd be somebody that would be like, I'm interested.
Right.
It would probably be Shane, honestly.
It would probably be Shane.
Shane would be the one to be willing to do that.
I like consolidating things, so yeah.
Yep. Let's do some more inbox trades here. And we got a couple super chats we'll get to. Jacob, inbox trade, 12-team, Superflex, half PPR. Give James Robinson for an early 23 second.
Can we see his value rising? Just curious.
Any second.
Give me the second.
The guy's not good. So take the second. This is another Brian Robinson. He's a stiff. Take a second. Get out. Get out.
Jesus.
He's not good.
You're not.
He's not good. Fine. Again, what running back that's had a torn Achilles ends up being good? Because that's the other thing with James Robinson. I don't care if he goes out in his top 24 the rest of the year. You go into the offseason, guess what? Dude, he had a torn Achilles. He's never going to be any better. Like, you're holding an asset that literally has flatlined. It's all production, and I feel like I can replace production way easier. So give me the second.
And there's a pretty good chance that he's going to be in a timeshare with Michael Carter.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to talk about that too. Let's hide that one there. So yes, we're taking the early second. Just take it. Bird in hand right there. Okay, let's go to, I know we had a super chat here from John Fisher. Thank you very much, sir. It is a 10-team, 1 QB, half PPR, start 8. Gave Jefferson, and it hurt. Got 323 firsts, projected 101, 102, and the other in the top 5. I'm currently rebuilding, and I felt this was the best route. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm projecting 101 and 102. Guess what? I just drafted, and I hate chasing quarterbacks. I just drafted CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, and then
it's a 1 QB. Yeah.
Well, then I shouldn't have done
Don't
that.
draft CJ Stroud and Bryce Young.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Get him in the second.
101, 102. Here's the thing. So, like, obviously we've talked about how we hate running backs. You could draft 3 running backs in the top 5, and your team's going to compete next year. Assuming they didn't all blow an Achilles / ankle / Liz Frank.
Yep.
I was waiting for Scott to come in on that. Like,
I mean, I didn't expect Shane to say he's going to blow a Liz Frank, but
yeah. You don't hear that.
But no, this is, if you're going to trade Jefferson, like you probably are never going to see a bigger deal. And I do think we're going to see the Bijan value is. Bijan's value is going to be interesting because you're in a vacuum. People are going to say, "Oh, he's going to be just as valuable. He's going to be the top skill player off the board." Sometimes. Then there's other leagues where it's like a running back can never be the top skill player off the board because everyone's afraid of paying that price for him. But still, like there's a shot next year he can trade the 101 for, whoever the wide receiver 3 is and still draft 2 running backs. And then this deal looks even better. So great trade.
I'll tell you what, even in the leagues that we're in, right? The fear of running backs tends to dissipate by the time the rookie drafts come. By the time the rookie drafts come, every rookie running back that's coming in the league has ACLs of steel, Liz Franks of metal, and ACLs of like solid gold. Like they will never be injured. You know what I mean? You can't even imagine it. You go, Bijan Robinson will never get hurt. Did you see him in college? He's the greatest player I've ever seen in my life.
He was hurt last year.
Yeah. Even in the leagues we're in, because guess what? I'm gonna do it. Every league I got a shot to draft Bijan Robinson. I'm going to do it.
Yes. Give me all that Bijan. All right. Inbox trade for Dylan. 12-team Superflex PPR 1.5 tight end premium start 10. Give Kyler, Mooney, Rashad White 224 firsts. Get Josh Allen. I'm full rebuilding. Should I even try to counter to get Allen or no? Also have Watson.
221st. I don't want to give up Kyler and 2 firsts for Josh Allen.
1 first, I would do. 2 firsts. I mean, he doesn't say any other context as to like what his other skill players are other than he's fully rebuilding. Yeah, I mean, I get it though. Like you're locking in
Mooney and Rashad White. I mean, I was gonna say he's rebuilding, so you don't want to give too many pieces, but those pieces are like irrelevant in this trade.
This is a good one. This is one. If you put Kyler closer to that elite tier, then you don't want to do this trade because you're fine with a Kyler Watson quarterback room next year, and I have no issues with that. If you're really, for some reason, scared off Kyler and just feel you want to get out, I think you could take this deal and go, what's the worst that can happen,
Well, the worst is you have the QB2 in fantasy football or QB1, yeah. But no, I'm not doing this. No, this is too much.
It's too much for you? Yeah.
People want us for advice. Don't do it. Don't give up 3 firsts, 2 firsts, 2 firsts. Oh, they're 24s.
If they were 25s, they wouldn't even be first, right?
No, you know what? You've Kyler. I'm not giving up 224 first, too.
Here's the only thing. Does this trade still present itself in 6 months? It's not like that you're going to plug in Josh Allen and then win because you're still without Watson for another month. So, he's fully rebuilding. So, it doesn't matter. Can he still get this trade later? This is one of those where it could be only on the table for a limited time. Oh, well, Kyler smashes the rest of the year, and you don't even want to do it.
So I agree. As of today, okay, so Shane, you are not giving that for Josh Allen. What is your what's your final call here, Scott? We got to give him a little tip here.
I think the justification you could take the trade because the fact that Josh Allen never becomes available. He's never available. The team that has it 99% of the leagues, not tradable.
Guess what? We thought the same thing about Mahomes. We thought the same thing about Watson. We thought the same thing about, well, maybe not Kyler. We thought the same thing about Herbert entering this year. All it takes is 4 bad games. You know what we're dealing with. We have, and I don't mean us three, but like us as a community, do we have the attention span of goldfish? Like as soon as stuff goes bad for a while, we're like, oh, what's that new shiny thing over there? Let me go swim that way. And then, anyway.
So Shane's not doing it. I'm doing it. And Clay's the tiebreaker. So there you go.
Give me Josh Allen. Give me Josh Allen.
No, you guys are suckers.
He's a cheat code. He's on another planet. And I don't think anybody's going to be on that planet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a super chat we missed.
Okay. Throw it up, sir.
Nicholas Catazaris. I nailed that. There's no way I didn't get that name right.
You threw an extra A in there, but yeah, we'll take it.
Whatever. That's how you pronounce it. It's Greek. I know my Greek. 12-team dynasty, half PPR, 2.0.2 PPC, start 10. Running backs are Jonathan Taylor, Etienne, and Rashad White. Wide receivers are JJ, Cup, CD, Pittman, Juju, and Pickens. Should I target running backs or am I good? If so, which wide receivers do I trade away? If I was going to trade any wide receivers for a running back, Juju can go, Pittman can go. Those are the two. Those are my least foundational wide receivers. And I think especially Pittman should be able to get you a good running back. I don't know how many you start. You didn't note it there. So if you feel
start
the
10.
need,
start 10.
He did start. Yeah, it's right there where I read it. So it's a start 10. No, I meant running back. So I'm going to guess it's 2. I'm fine with trading Pittman or Juju for a running back.
So I think the key to this question is what does the rest of his roster look like? Because if I look at this roster, it better be 15 other running backs on his bench. If he's got that roster construction nailed, then I'm not in a rush to trade Michael Pittman for a running back. In 2 weeks, if I desperately need one, fine. But like really, his bench should be every running back that's breathing just in case he needs one for an RB2 because he's got multiple shots with Etienne and JT as potential like top 8 running backs weekly. You don't need to go buy another one in that range. You don't need to go pay for, Alvin Kamara or Dalvin Cook or something like that. Now, but this is right. If I look at his bench and it's got Laviska Shenault and Terrace Marshall and guys like that, then you're leaving meat on the bone. Those are the guys you trade for literally bodies, and that's how you get by. So that's the key to the question. We don't know that. So I'd say don't worry unless you have not enough bodies to go with.
I'll tell you here. I'll just throw one out. Juju for David Montgomery. People always hate David Montgomery. David Montgomery is going to continue to be at worst a high-end RB2.
Yeah, in the PPC, go after the rush attempts. In a 0.2 PPC. Let's throw this up from that was already he already put that one up there. Maybe we already covered that one. Okay. Should rebuilding teams target Brees? And how do you value Dameon Pierce versus Brees? I thought this one was interesting.
Well, I mean,
depends how far you are into the rebuild. Is that part of it?
Not for me.
We did a Brees video. I think on the video I even said if you're a rebuilding team, you should be targeting still sell Brees. It isn't about if you're a rebuilding team, you're looking for assets. You're looking for fluid assets. You're looking for flexible assets. You're looking for maybe you need a second quarterback. Maybe you don't have enough receivers. Maybe you don't have enough future picks. The idea of shopping Brees, I see a lot of people go, oh, I'm out of it. Let me go buy Brees Hall. I think we even talked about if you have Brees Hall, if you're targeting Brees Hall and you're out of it, I see people saying, oh, should I give up my second, mid to late first to get Brees Hall? No, you shouldn't give up draft capital to get him to begin with, unless it's just a pure luxury, right? Like if you're a team that's already stacked and someone's willing to sell him for like a really late first or something, it's a luxury move. But if you're rebuilding, why target a running back that is going to go through an 8 to 10 month lull of just, well, let's wait and see if he recovers. Give me the flexibility of the picks. So if I'm out of it and I lost Brees Hall, I'm still shopping him. If someone gives me one of these deals I've seen people getting, like, still shop him. So it's not even about where your team is. Maybe I'm more likely to be less aggressive shopping him if I'm out of it. but I'm not just going, oh, no, he'll be back next year. Like that kind of violates the reason why you want to shop him in the first place when they have these devastating injuries.
Damian Pierce versus Brees. What do you think?
Can I get something with Damian Pierce? Because if not, I'll still take Brees. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm gonna keep saying here's the thing. Apparently, that's my phrase tonight. Damian Pierce goes out and blows his knee out tomorrow, right? Who's worth more? Brees Hall, infinitely so. And say I have both these players on my roster next year in the summer, and I'm looking to trade a running back. You know what it was like trying to sell Elijah Mitchell coming off of, and he didn't even get like season-ending injuries. Like he just got a couple injuries. You know what it was like trying to sell him. Looking at the trade, like I said, looking at some of the DLF trades, it looks like some people were able to get good value for Travis Etienne. Brees Hall is going to be thought of in a greater light. So I'll take Brees.
Okay. I mean, I think can you get more for, if you make this trade and you trade away Brees for Damian Pierce, can you get more for Damian Pierce? That's going to be league specific. Some you can't.
Right.
Some people are chasing running backs they can use. I've seen where the team that loses Brees Hall, they just double down and send their first for Damian Pierce because they need a running back. Like that's the kind of person you do want to target.
Yep. Okay, so let's run through some super chats here. We got a lot of folks put them up here. We appreciate it. Avatar, where are we at with James Cook and Rachaad White? Holds. Will Cook get work next year with Singletary probably cut? Rachaad behind 3-year Lenny contract?
Gotcha.
Nah, these guys aren't even in the same world. Rachaad White's actually playing. James Cook, yeah, Singletary's a free agent next year, but listen, do you think Buffalo is going to sit back and wait for, especially if Buffalo doesn't win this year, do you think they're going to sit back and wait for James Cook? Or they're just going to fill players around James Cook and say, if he ever gives us what we wanted, then he does. But I think there's a big difference between these two. Rachaad White truly does feel like a Fournette injury away from he's in my lineup. I mean, his floor is probably another Tony Pollard. James Cook isn't even playing.
Stop it. Zach Moss inactive last week.
And how much is James Cook playing?
Coming back from a bye. He's the next man up behind Devin Singletary. Now, Rachaad White is playing. I don't know how well he's producing because I haven't seen him crack 10 fantasy points in a game yet. Maybe if you add up a couple games. But no. I'm holding on to both of these guys actually. Because
are you buying James Cook? Because I definitely have some I will sell.
Okay, well, that's a different question. I
am
holding
mid 23 second or James Cook right now.
I don't know. I don't want to talk about it.
What do you mean you don't know? You're the most convicted person I know.
He doesn't know. He doesn't want to talk.
I'll hold on to James Cook. I will.
Search my James Cook and see if I can get a second from Shane. Let me see.
Here.
I didn't say I'm going to actively go out there.
He has James Cook in
everywhere.
That's the problem. The league I'm in with Shane. It's like I see Shane is the worst. That's James Cook.
Yeah, so I mean that's
already.
That's the problem with me and James Cook is I own him. I'm so heavy on him in leagues that if there's a trade that comes along where I can divest a little bit, I'm going to. But in general, in a vacuum, I'm still holding him in Rachaad White.
Yeah. We've got 292 people with us. Thank you very much for joining. If you're enjoying this content, if you wouldn't mind hitting that little thumbs up, giving us the like. The YouTube algorithm likes it. Shane likes it. I like it. Scott likes it. So that would be a nice thing to do for us. Thank you. Moving on. First name. Thank you very much for the super chat, man. Competing next year, paid a 23 mid and a 24 first for... Sorry. Competing next year, paid a 23 mid, 24 first, and Everett for Mark Andrews. 12-team Superflex PPR, no tight end premium. What are your thoughts? Gerald Everett, mid 23 first and a 24 first.
Yeah, the positional advantage is still smash, even if it's not a premium. I know that he hasn't been scoring 25 points a week like he was the first couple of weeks, but I still believe in Mark Andrews. I mean, whatever. It was a bad game script. How many passes did Lamar complete last week, Scott?
9 for 16. So
9 for 16.
You can't really look at the numbers and go, "Oh, the receivers or tight ends didn't produce," because literally the team didn't throw.
Yeah, and Gerald Everett doesn't count. I mean, he's a real person, and he's fun to watch sometimes. But yeah, no, No, Mark Andrews.
I mean, this is interesting because with Mike Williams out, like you could see Gerald Everett giving you like top 6 numbers the rest of the year. And I can see where someone goes, well, this is like my only shot to extract some value and get 2 firsts on top of top of Gerald Everett. So, I mean, I can see both sides, but generally I think we would say YOLO, chase the positional advantage. It's an expensive price. The only thing I would say that I would hold me back from making this deal right away is Andrews is banged up. He has a bye week coming up. Is there something even better you can get with these 2 picks? Because this feels like
and he's
you're going all in
year.
on one player.
He says competing next year too. Does he need to make this move right now?
Yeah, I mean,
is Mark Andrews going to get pricier? It may have to be, Gerald Everett may not be worth as much, a little down the road, but might have to insert a different player.
Would you rather buy Kyle Pitts for this, Shane, if he's competing next year? See, it kind of feels like this isn't the league to go spend 2 firsts on a tight end, especially if you're not getting the Andrews production right now. Why rush it? I get it. He's chasing the positional advantage to try to set himself up perfectly. But I also feel if you're a week before the rookie draft next year, and that is I assume it's maybe his own pick. It's a top 6 pick, or like, it just feels like you could get that pick. You could get that deal next June. And so why rush it now when there's a lot that could go against you holding the player instead of the picks?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. You guys convinced me, but I will say this: the first 4 weeks, if someone were to offer you that for Mark Andrews, you would have immediately hit decline. Just saying. I understand buy windows, right? Like, so I'm never one of those people that's like, oh, well, you could do this trade in 6 months. I don't know what you could do in 6 months. I don't even know if we're going to be here in 6 months. So I don't mind buying things now. But you guys did talk me out of getting him because, I think he can do more with those picks.
There's a great James Cook buy window right now.
Yep. 10 team. Thank you, Christian. 10 team Superflex start 9. QBs are Lance and Fields. RBs are TDP, James Cook, Tyler Algier. There's a barfy emoji if you're just listening and not watching this. Projected to get the 101 and 102. Is it dumb to pick 2 RBs at 1 and 2? Rebuilding.
No, because it's start 9. I mean, it's start 9. You already have Lance and Fields. Now, I'm probably going to hedge my bets because I'm a sissy like that. I played scared sometimes. I'd probably hedge my bets and go quarterback, running back. But if you wanted to go running back, and a start 9, yeah, I'm fine with that because again, you can immediately compete. If Bijan Robinson goes out there and Jahmyr Gibbs goes out there, or whoever's the 1-2 at that point, Zach Charbonnet, go out there and do what we think they're going to do. Well, then you're going to be in a position where you can immediately compete. Like, that was the fun thing about the 1 or 2 weeks that I had Walker and Breece Hall playing together. I was the gorilla in the room. I was smacking people around with my running backs, and those were a fun 2 weeks. Now this is the unfun part, but it happens.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to commit to 2 running backs either. Like, you become one of the teams where you could take them if they're the clear 2 best players, but you're also, people probably know where your team is. You probably would be flexible moving around and getting extra assets too. And really, he doesn't have any running backs. Trade Tyler Algier. Invite Shane to your league and trade him James Cook.
All right, let's keep rolling here. We'll get back to a couple more super chats. Let's hit a couple non-super chats. Yeah, it's still starred here. That's on me. Here's another inbox trade. Cuddy Fever, 12-team Superflex start 10. Give Cup and Brian Robinson get Drake London and a 24 first. Team is in 8th place but 6th in points.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. This is the. I know I should trade Cooper Kupp, but you have to determine if you want to trade Cooper Kupp. But this is a great package if you commit to trading him. So I like it.
That's what she said.
You're 6th in points, right? So your hope is, all right, maybe I could get up to 4th, and then you can never trade Kupp again. Look, it doesn't matter what Kupp does. It really doesn't. Like, he went out last year and put up 25 points a game. He was scoring more than that earlier in the season, and you still couldn't trade him for value because, well, he's an old wide receiver.
Yep. Inbox trade 10 team Superflex PPR start 12. Team A, Nick Chubb, 24 second, 23 third. Team B is Brees Hall. I'm a contender and would be getting Team A. Oh, would be getting Team A. I'm
Yep,
okay.
yep.
I'm gonna taking Nick Chubb. Get you the ship.
Yep, agree.
Can I trade Brees Hall for Travis Etienne plus instead?
I mean, you can. Colin, can you?
Colin, can you do that? Just say it.
I think the idea is insert a lot of running. If you can get Ken Walker, Travis Etienne, like insert Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey into that Nick Chubb spot, shop around. But you're willing to trade for, basically a rest of the season running back they could smash. Yes.
Okay. We're going to do two super chats here, and then I'm going to pull up another question for us to talk around the topic a bit. I've got a hard stop at 10:15 tonight. Lame. I know. Promise my wife though. So we're going to do that. Lithium 66 Superflex, half PPR, Ken Walker, and a second for Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
Yes.
And if that trade is in your inbox, keep it in there until Ken Walker's next game starts, and then accept it.
Exactly.
1 minute after, if it's on sleeper, you just accept it after he starts.
Soon as
you
it
get one more week out of it.
Exactly. Yep. Do that. And thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. So let's go to Kevin's here. Thank you very much, sir. 12 team Superflex, tight end premium. Give Brees Hall, DJ Moore. Get Justin Jefferson, a 23 third.
Yes. Yes, please.
Done.
Yes.
I just can't imagine the team that has Justin Jefferson's going, man, look at that haul.
So here's the thing.
I don't understand. I don't understand why if you're trading Jefferson, is the big piece you're getting back a running back that blew his ACL.
Because maybe he's tanking. He doesn't want the best rebuild piece that he could possibly have.
I mean, look, there's also this Brees Hall. I'm playing devil's advocate, right? TikTok was mean to me today, so I'm just gonna play devil's advocate. Brees Hall was the best prospect since Saquon Barkley. Yeah, I just said he's better. He was better than Jonathan Taylor. Definitely said that, and he's a better player than Jonathan Taylor. So what you're looking at is going, you know what? It's an ACL. He's 21. He's going to be back next year. It's going to be wheels up, like he never missed a beat. That's what the person's thinking. That has to be what the person is thinking.
Okay. At what point in the season should I make that? And thank you, Kevin, for that super chat. What point in the season should I make that all-in move? I'm currently 7-0, and I want to go for the win. I can see others in second and third place making trades, even bad ones, just to get points.
Well, the thing is, you're 7-0, so I'm not in a rush to go chase more points when I'm 7-0. Now, if it starts to slip away, you lose a couple games in a row, a team or two below you gets a big trade, maybe you react a little bit more. But I think I was just thinking about this earlier today about a topic I wanted to cover. Teams I see paying too much for insurance that they think they're going to need down the road, and then they really don't need it. And that's not how Dynasty works. I mean, I work in the insurance industry, and there's a such thing as having too much insurance versus actually appropriately assessing your risk and not insuring yourself. There's no point in paying for, $400,000 in insurance when it's like my risk versus what I could actually insure is far less than that. And it's the same thing. If you have a 7-0 team, you probably have either enough depth or you have just a couple players that you're riding out. And if everyone remembers the, maybe people don't, but the Adeko chart where he studied the playoff percentages and win rates at where you finished last year. Like, just because you have the best team and you're stacked and you have the best roster, you're still no more than like a 30 to 35% shot to win the title. So if you're already there, why go and pay for like extra points? Wait a little bit longer. Now we get into stuff with like your trade deadline. If it's a week 12 trade deadline, then okay, you might have to make one or two moves before then. But hopefully if there's an extended trade deadline and it's week 14 or there's not one at all, what's the rush? You're 7-0. If you're 7-4, then okay, then you're not 7-0 anymore. But right now, it just doesn't feel like you need to go rush and make a trade.
So here's where me and Scott differ, right? So if I'm the villain in the James Bond movie, I take a gun and shoot him in the head. Scott's content with going, you know what? I'm going to tell this guy my secret plan, and then I'm going to go walk out with pussy galore. And we'll see what happens. Like, no, I don't like, look, I know chance is a thing. I don't like leaving anything up to chance. I want to break your spirit. I want to break your will. Part of what I'm trying to do in this league is the other teams in the league look at my roster and go, I've got no chance. I might as well just start trading stuff off. Like, honestly, like everybody, or, if they want to continue to make bad trades trying to catch up to me, because I'm going to make a better trade than them. So I'm already buying at 7-0. I probably would have been buying all season, but I'll buy right now. Not a running back. I'll wait for that.
Are other teams actually looking at your roster and like, Shane, I'm scared?
They, if you do it, if you could get it built enough, you can do that.
He was casted as a villain in a James Bond movie. He's a scary guy. All right, domain expansion. Thank you very much for the super chat. 12-team Superflex start 10 half PPR rebuilding team. Which side are you taking? ETN and Wandale, or 23 first, 23 second, 23 seconds, and a 24 second. One of the 23 seconds looking like the 201. I also have 2 top 4 picks next year, including the 101.
Yeah, I'll cash out on 18 on this. Oh, yeah, Wandell.
Taking the picks, cashing out.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we going.
All right. Sounds good. Real quick. Fast answer, Wandale Robinson or a projected late 23 second?
If it's a late second, I'll take the shot on Wandella.
Yeah, I mean, I think that could be a early second if he has another game or two with how he showed this past weekend. But then I would probably sell him if he gets up into that early second range, because I do think he has limitations from a value standpoint. People are always going to say he's too small. He's kind of a gadget player. Like, he's never going to be in first range. So I think you can wait another week or two, but consider it at least.
I don't know. I believe he might be able to get into the Kadarius Toney range one day. This was a super chat that we missed from Brian S.
Yes, thank you, Brian. See the super chat right here. 10-team start 10, 1 PPR. Give Lenny and Lockett for Treylon Burks in an early 23 second.
And this feels like I'm giving up a lot of security. Now, it might not be like sexy. And I know Lenny's looked like trash this year, but Lockett up until last week was a top. He was a wide receiver too. He was wide receiver 21 overall. And DK Metcalf's going to be out for a little bit. I like Burks. This is probably the best you can do. I'm okay with getting Burks in the second. Not in love with it, but I'm good with it.
I think it's a 10-team start 10, so probably on the shallow end. And so this does feel like this is the magic window where you can actually get something for Tyler Lockett. So take advantage of it. The fact you're getting Treylon Burks for Tyler Lockett, basically, maybe Fournette's worth a little bit more than a second, but I would take that.
Yeah, that's a problem. Tyler Lockett is in that range of players that no one ever likes. Like, even when he was smashing, everyone's like, I don't want to pay anything for this guy. And you're like, are you sure? Because he's putting up a wide receiver one season. They're like, no, I'm good.
Sure. All right, guys, we got to talk about James Robinson. What are your thoughts on him? This question was, how does James Robinson trade affect his and ETN's value? We talked about ETN. Talk to me about J-Rob. He's gone for an early 23 second. So what's the split going to look like in that backfield?
I got a feeling, man, it's hard to know how they feel about Michael Carter, right? But there was the split last year was something like 65-35 between Ty Johnson and Michael Carter. I got a feeling it's still kind of going to be that way towards Michael Carter. Michael Carter's a very good receiving back, and he's, it pains me to say, he's a decent running back as well. He's definitely more versatile than James Robinson. I know James Robinson had a ton of catches in Jacksonville, but they were more of the dump off variety. Michael Carter's just a better receiver. I think Michael Carter, if I had to guess, is going to see a 60-40 type split at best for either of these guys, 50-50. And then I don't know what you do with that.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of already talked a little bit about James Robinson. I'm not in on James Robinson. This feels like a reactionary move from the Jets' perspective. This is the team that just lost a running back in Dynasty and immediately is obsessed with going out and paying up to fill the running back spot versus just pulling the next man up from their bench, which in reality has a a decent shot to score as many points. You know, you could throw in like a Latavius Murray type, and like, is there a big difference between him and Brian Robinson or James Robinson? I don't really think so, but you have to pay for James Robinson, where you probably have to pay a lot less, or you could have picked up Latavius Murray. So I do think they'll work in Ty Johnson. They worked him in a lot last year early in the season, and I think that he's not going to be someone that they don't just go with a 2-man backfield like they did. So I don't think we just can say James Robinson will take, 70% of what Breece Hall was getting. And it's like a 60-40 split. Like, I think he's going to be, he's there for a specific purpose. It's to get, absorb a lot of because they're going to run the ball a lot, right? Mm-hmm. It's to absorb a lot of the carries, but I don't know if he's going to really get the high valued carries that you're wanting. Cause I don't even think it's guaranteed that he plays on the goal line. Like, they were bringing in Michael Carter on the goal line. So I don't know. He just feels like a guy that's just going to be there for like team production and not a ton of fantasy production. So I'm out if I can sell him. And this is the window. You couldn't sell him for the last 3 weeks because he's done nothing in Jacksonville. So I think this is the window to get out until he plays a game.
So what's your quick answer here? Would you take Michael Carter or a 23-second, call it mid, and a 24-second?
Oh, I would have taken just 1 second for him. You're going to give me another one? Cool. Yeah, see it. Carter's gone.
Yeah, because I think you could buy another running back that could do similar things to him than with one of those picks. So that's a pure process trade.
Right. Like if Carter, I could convince myself to give up a second for Carter if they didn't just add to the backfield. And like Scott said, Ty Johnson is still there. And Ty Johnson was actually pretty decent last year. And they used him on a lot of receiving work as well.
Well, I'll just say this. One of our very first videos, go back and listen to it. You can see how far we've come as a channel. We talked about giving up potentially a late first for Darrell Henderson. You remember that, Shane?
I love Darrell Henderson, and I will always love Darrell Henderson.
But what is the difference between Michael Carter and Darrell Henderson, other than you probably thought the Rams were a better offense, and you just thought, well, he's going to be the starter. But they also brought in a guy, remember Sony Michel? They brought in a guy probably similar to James Robinson. It really was never a good process to go, let's give up the first for the backup because the starter got hurt. Even if the backup was a guy that we liked a little bit, there's the reason that he was in the backup spot to begin with. So take the 2 seconds, I guess, is the wraparound answer to that. But we've learned. We've come a long way in a year.
We have come quite a long way. We got to find the person who said, who kept saying on every video, use graphics. And look at, what a mess it's become ever since we started using graphics. Got all in, baby. Bailey and John, thank you very much for the super chat. So John is using Bailey's money, right? Because it must be a family here. It's a family super chat. We're a family show. Yep. Multi-team trade. Send Breece Hall in a 25-second for 2 late 23 firsts, a 24 third, and a 25 third. Without Breece Hall, I'm not competitive. Gives me 4 23 firsts if done. Done.
Yeah.
Get you those 2 late 23 firsts.
And you can do things with those picks, right? Say
I see this and I wonder what would they have given for Breece Hall before he got injured.
9
Is this the league where they would have given like half their roster?
9 firsts.
Well, Scott, what do we talk about, right? So sometimes players just aren't obtainable. And that could have been the Breece Hall situation. Like, people were probably coming at this dude, and he's like, "No, like, why would I trade Breece Hall? Like, I have no impetus to trade him." And then he blew out a tire, and it's like, all right, well, 2 firsts, that's not bad at all. Thank you. Plus the other picks that you get to move around with. So yeah, that's a good deal. I take it.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the super chat. We're coming up. It's 1 hour and 3 minutes. I have no idea what to do. I lost Bruce.
We got a video on that. Check it out.
Yeah. We just published a video. Okay, I've got 11 minutes because I'm going to respect this household.
Let's fly through some of these.
Yeah, and we have a handful of super chats here. Can't believe I'm saying this, but if you would mind holding the super chats, that would be nice, so we can get some non-super chat questions as well. Okay, here we already did this one, right? So whoops, my bad, clicking around here. Sterling, thank you very much. 8-person PPR super flex. Send Kenneth, so Ken Walker for Mark Andrews straight up, I have 223 firsts. That will be the 101 and the other a top 4. JK and Akers, only other RBs.
Probably
So
comes
you
down to
don't
what your
have any
roster
RBs.
needs.
Yeah.
I think it you could argue the positional advantage argument by taking Andrews, but you could say the same thing about Walker. So I'm good with it if you're okay just going into next year and using those picks on first, or or using those picks on running backs and trading for running backs, because Andrews, the tight end advantage may be harder to get later on.
And might as well maybe ask for just some bench wide running back to be thrown in with Andrews. Just just another warm body that you don't know
See if
could
you can
use or sell for a third.
Yeah, SNOOP Connor. See if he's out there. Grab him.
Get some Snoop.
Oh,
Okay. Thank you, Sterling. Appreciate that. Let's go to the next one here. I got to start unstarring some here. Let's see. We've got a private chat message from one of you two. Are you mad at me for something? No. First name, inbox trade. 12-team Superflex, start 9, PPR. My wide receivers are CD, DK, Hollywood, T, Elijah, and Sky.
Yes.
Give ETN, Sky, and a second. Get Waddle. ETN is my hero RB.
Yeah, I get that, but I'll go take Waddle. I mean, I'm not happy about giving up the second. Can we make that a third and then use the second just to get a running back? But if not, I'll go ahead and take Waddle here. Scott hates Waddle. I don't know why. He's bowling out.
I don't hate Waddle. I just think he's in a tier with other players that are similar. So I think this is we were talking earlier, like ETN for Waddle straight up, like in this range. So if you really want to convert him to a receiver, I'm okay with it. But I could also see where you don't want to give up both Sky and the second rounder. So I can see both sides. I'd probably lean the Waddle side because I like cashing out on running backs for receivers in this tier.
Yeah, I would take Waddle as well. Okay, hide the current comment. Let's move on to the next one here. Another inbox trade from Dylan. 12-team Superflex PPR, 1.5 tight end premium, start
Did this
10.
One.
Gosh, I need to unstar.
I'm gonna fire the producer. This is ridiculous.
Who's the producer? Who's this freaking producer? Another inbox trade from Joshua. 12-team Superflex PPR, no tight end premium, start 10, competing. Give a late 23 first, a 25 first. Get CMC, a 23 third, and a 24 third. I feel it like it's basically a late 23 first for CMC. I have so long to get that 25 back. Agreed.
Yep, agree. Do it.
Agreed. I mean, do you even sweat 20-25 first? No. If it's a big trade, like you'll just worry about that later, right?
Yeah.
You got so much time.
The biggest sweat is like if I run leagues, I'll make you pay 3 years out if you traded 25 first. So like you might have to come up with $600.
That'd be kind of annoying
to trade I'm just saying that's the rules. So if there's no rules like that, then why are you sweating a 25 first?
Okay, so we'll unstar. There we go. Let's go to Mark here. Thank you for the super chat. If you're trying to trade Ramondre, what's the minimum in terms of picks?
I'll tell you what a ceiling should be, or what you should aim for. I saw him traded for a 24 first in a league we're in, and that's in a league where, again, historically people hate running backs, and that's someone that's obviously zagging. So that's where I'm shooting.
Yep, right there. I was going to say you can't get a 23 most likely, but I'd take a 24. Yep,
24. Same for me. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. Garrett, when you're the top 5, and thank you very much. When you're the top contender, a favorite / top contender for winning a league, and own your firsts for 23 and 24, how do you work it out internally if you want to move them to upgrade your roster with no major holes or sit on them?
I'm visual, so like I'll actually sit there and I'll just envision, like, all right, instead of AJ Brown, I'm starting T Higgins. Is this worth me giving a first for? Right? Instead of starting, I can't think of any other players' names. Instead of me starting Waddle, I'm going to start his guy in that range. Give me a guy in that range. Just name one. Name one, anyone.
I don't know where you're going with this trade.
Yeah.
My point being is if I don't have any major holes, no, I'm not going to overpay. Like if it's only going to make a very incremental difference and I'm already like a monster, there's no reason to then get and waste draft capital.
If you're already a contender and you holding your own first, it's really going to come down to how does the league value those firsts. I have some really dominant teams where I try to shop my firsts and people go, yeah, you're going to be the 112. I don't even want that pick. There's other leagues where there's people that understand the value of future picks and why they're more valuable than even players that are worth the same. They'd rather have the picks because of the flexibility. If I can maintain the flexibility because the market isn't there for me to sell, then I'm not selling. But if I can literally like upgrade my lineup or add another player, preferably I'd like to add players. If I have a good team, I'm not adding a first to marginally upgrade 2% at wide receiver. To me, that's stupid. I'd rather hold the flexibility of the picks and use them later. So it really just depends on the market of how they're viewed.
Okay. Thank you very much for that super chat. Let's go up to here. Buck was in here really early, and he was the first starred message here. 12 team super flex, half PPR, start 9, no tight end premium. I took your advice, got bashed for the trade to get JT for 2 firsts, giving DK, Eckler, and Pitts, and received Jefferson and Dillon. Still have Barkley, JT, Jacobs, and Lenny. So giving DK, Austin Eckler, Kyle Pitts, received Justin Jefferson and AJ Dillon.
Look, man, I love Kyle Pitts, but even I'd have to be like, all right, yeah, I got to do this, don't I? Yeah, it's start 9. Like, dude, I hate losing Eckler, but whatever. He's an old running back. Pitts hasn't produced yet. JJ is.
And it's a start 9. He already has like 4 top 12 running backs as well. So that's another reason to do exactly what we talk about, liquidate them.
Jefferson, Amon, Higgins, and I think that's a DJM as his core.
Yeah, as his core. Yep. Okay, let's go here. Let's grab another. There's got to be an inbox question in here somewhere. We'll see if I already answered this one. 10 team, 1 QB, PPR, start 10, salary cap, keeper style, failed contender, now rebuilding. Give Miles Sanders and Gus Edwards, get Trey Lance and a 23 fourth. Trey Lance.
I mean, it's 1 QB, but I mean, if he comes back and he runs, then you maybe got some positional advantage for a piece that's probably already capped out. So I'm okay with it. It's kind of a really, really small trade if you really look at it that way. But I'm okay with it.
Can I get Justin Fields instead?
Maybe.
Yes, maybe. But yeah, getting Trey Lance, I mean that should be
it's a good deal.
a fairly live asset here as we keep going. Okay. We will I gotta throw this up here real quick. What is Bailey Zappi's trade value right now?
Less than it was in the first half of the New England Patriots game last night.
I think the roster review we just completed, the advice was cut Bailey Zappi.
No.
It was shallow, but it was cut Bailey Zappi. Yes.
I believe it was, well, is at least like just trade him for something if you can. If not, then cut him.
Get something. Yeah, it's offer, get declined, and then cut.
Third.
Done.
Gone.
Yeah, I'd rather have Sam Ellinger.
Okay. Hook 'em horns. Inbox offer 10 team superflex PPR start 11 2-year rebuild. Give Ayuk, Davis Mills, and a 23 third. Get Elijah Moore and a 24 first.
Done, because you're giving up only Ayuk for Elijah Moore and 24 first. Davis Mills sucks.
Yeah, done.
You suck.
You suck. And then one last quick one here. These are from our community post subs who couldn't make it tonight. Inbox offer 10 team 1 QB PPR start 8. Currently 2-5. Give Gus Bus, get Rashad White. Yep.
Yeah. Gus had a great game last week, and that's what happens when you score 2 touchdowns.
All right, got another couple minutes here. Let's pull up some more. Shane, here's your brother from another mother. Decided to spell the name differently.
Why?
Super flex. I don't know.
But why?
This person had more flair than.
But why?
But why? What am I not?
Because there's a Y in it, and Shane Manila's doesn't have a Y. Just cracking a joke.
Yeah, and he's got that one N on the Manila. Throws everybody off. Superflex 10 team PPR start 9. T-Law 24 first, 23 second, or Dak, D-Hop, Singletary, and a 24-second.
This is enough of an upgrade from Trevor Lawrence to DJ or to Dak to give up the first with it.
He's getting DeAndre Hopkins. Isn't he going to lead the league in targets, Shane?
So I'm gonna pass on this and hold. I think T-Law is basically Dak Prescott now. I don't know if he's going to be that consistent, but no.
You counter this and you offer him that 24-second and DeAndre Hopkins for that 24 first. And you keep T-Law. That's what I would do.
Yep. Okay, let's do a couple more here real quick. I feel bad, man. I don't want to go anywhere. There's 300 people in here, but
you're the one that has to have a wife.
Yeah, no, I gotta respect that though.
Someone threw up a super chat, even though we said to hold off, so we have to do it.
All right. Thank you for being generous. Thank you for your super chat. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And cute dog. It almost kind of looks like a pig from this from my angle. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. Do you see the pig? See the pig? Am I totally offending this guy, calling his dog a pig?
I honestly can't tell. It could be a pig. It could be a...
I hope it's a pig, because that's just like epic if you have like a pet pig. I would definitely have maybe a goat. Let us know in the comments. Rebuilding in a 12-team Superflex, got a 23-second, 24 first, and J.K. Dobbins for Javonte and Pacheco. Thoughts? Also, what is Pickett's trade value in a Superflex? Thanks.
Yeah, I don't care about J.K. Dobbins anymore. He's a roster clogger. Yeah, I said it. And what? Pacheco, that was fun. He started last week, right? How'd that go? I'm fine with this. I like this. You got the 24 first. You got
the 23, Dobbins. And he got Dobbins. Now sell Dobbins, get another second. So there you go. You smash that trade.
You did well, my friend.
Yeah.
Pickett. I was just gonna say on Pickett, I think he's probably a guy that you would flip for a first, but his price is more than a second, so you're going to have to find that right manager that wants to deal him. I'm actually a little interested in Pickett. His efficiency numbers have been pretty good so far. I think him and Mac Jones are better than what the fantasy community says they are, so I'm kind of interested in adding a little more of those guys.
I've come around on Pickett. I've liked him. I know like he's thrown 400 interceptions in 3 games or whatever, but from what I've seen watching him, I like him a lot better than I did.
Would you pay a 24 first for him? LOL, it's American Pocket Bully. Oh yeah.
I don't know what that is. Is that a pig? I don't know what a pocket bully is. That sounds perverted. I don't want to talk. This is a family show, sir.
Look it up. Look it up, Shane. I'm not giving a first for Kenny Pickett. No,
not giving a first for Kenny Pickett.
No, but I think if you can get him for a second and a lesser quarterback, then I'd be willing to do that. But you probably can't. So
I've been trying.
Buying him.
Yeah, I've been trying to flip like Aaron Rodgers, like Ryan Tannehill, and another Ryan Tannehill to see if I can get a Pickett. Like I like him enough to give something. Probably not a first.
We got another one. All right, no mas. This is going to have to be our last question. Thank you very much for your generosity, though, Corey. Trade Breece Hall in a 23-second for Chris Olave and an early 23 first. Thoughts?
Yeah, hurry up and accept before they realize that that's a bad move for them.
So if it were, let's say this hasn't even been discussed, and the other owner's like, nah.
I would have done this, but I would have done this before the injury.
Yeah. I mean, what else would you be okay throwing on the Breece side to get Olave and an early 23 first? Like
I just feel like if you even send this offer, it doesn't get any traction. So I mean, Corey, that's a great deal. Like I'm kind of flabbergasted. Like I would have paid this before the trade or before the injury. So yeah, I mean, a 24 first, if you throw a 24 first in there, I think we'd still go, man, the Olave and the early 23 first is appealing, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. So basically, we're telling Corey there's a lot of flexibility. If this doesn't end up being the final trade and you need to add more, you may have to completely rework the trade offer as a whole, but you'd be crushing value here. So, guys, that is it for this evening. Thank you very much for joining tonight. 299 folks in here. We had close to 300 a lot of this show, which is just awesome for a Tuesday night. Just a reminder, take a peek, make sure you hit that like. But guys, any parting words, Scott?
No, I think we found our groove on doing these Tuesday night live streams. This is like the one day during the week where we're not to like practice reports yet, and waivers haven't run for most leagues, but we're far enough removed from the games to where it's like everyone's kind of willing to talk Dynasty. We're not quite in like sit start mode yet either. So yeah, I think this is our we're getting awesome viewership on Tuesday nights, so I like continuing that. So good stuff. Thanks everybody.
Just echoing you guys, really appreciate the support. Now, on the way home tonight driving, I was looking at a DM and I'm like, what the fuck? Like another question. And then I went, what is wrong with me? How awesome is this? People are DMing me because they watched Dynasty Trades in 5 and they care about my opinion. So I quickly went, dude, don't be a little crybaby. Like, this is pretty cool. So then I waited to respond to the message until I was done driving.
I was gonna say, Shane, come on, man. Come on.
No, man, just love it. This is the most fun I have all week is doing these live streams. Not even close.
Indeed. All right. Well, thanks everybody. We will see you soon. If you haven't seen the Brees Hall video, check it out. Later.
Thanks everybody.
Bye.